Hey, gentle readers, I'm Aubrey,
And I'm Peyton.
and today we are comparing the Bridgerton love story Pollen between the books and the TV show.
Yes, so drink the cup of coffee as we dive between these paper sheets.
All right.
Let's do this. All right, everyone. Welcome to this week's podcast. We are so excited to be
Hey.
bringing back Bridgerton. And this time we're talking about the TV show, which is much more positive, and I'm excited to do so. But with that being said, we are talking about the whole season 3 TV show. So part 1, part 2, the whole book. So this is one big spoiler of an episode. So if you are not caught up, please go at least watch the TV show and then come
Yeah.
back to see the differences between the book and the TV show. And this also gives us an opportunity to gush about the TV show and what we loved about it, because Shondaland knows how to, work it. So we are going to start off with talking about some of these characters.
Yes. I know that they took out the thing that you hated the most about Colin in the books. They just did a little cheeky side reference to it, in which in the books, Colin does not stop eating. His whole personality trait is food,
Yeah.
and it's so distracting.
It like honestly distracted me so much in the book because this
Yeah.
man just eats and eats and eats, and I was over it, and
Mhm.
I was like, I don't, obviously in previous seasons we see Colin. I'm like, he didn't, I don't know. And then in the
Yeah.
TV show, they mentioned
Yeah.
they did it so well.
No, yeah, because he was just like, "Oh, I shouldn't go. I'd eat all the biscuits," and that was it.
Yeah. And I was like, that was so cheeky and like
Yeah.
amazing. And so yeah, it made me giggle a lot seeing that. I was like, yes, we got our food reference, because I suffered through a whole book hearing
Whole
about
book.
Colin's eating habits.
Hungry boy.
I'm a hungry boy. Yes.
And I honestly, the fact that it was such a large part of his personality trait in the books, I saw a lot of people saying that they like didn't get his personality done right in the TV show. And I was like, well, they had to take out half of it because it was embarrassing.
It was.
But I think generally they got Colin like well enough. I think part one did the best with Colin's character. And then he sat like a heavy back seat in part two, just in general. But he sat in the back seat because of my girl Pen. She is my favorite Bridgerton character in the TV show, in the books, and I think they nailed her. Like spot
Yeah,
fucking
they
on.
did. They
And
did a
they did
great
her
job.
even a little better in the TV show.
Yeah, I mean, that, Shondaland's gonna take it and
Yeah.
refine the characters and
Mhm.
make them TV show ready. Yeah, I the thing about Penn's character I really like is when I read the book, it felt like Netflix TV show Penn.
Yeah.
And so her character effortlessly was able to transfer to screen,
Mhm.
and we still, even towards the end, still got the nervous
Yeah.
wallflower energy from her. And I love that she's able, like, she kept that, but like refined it. I don't know, I love her
Yeah.
character arc, and like seeing that she sticks true to herself, even though we're like, girl, let it go, some things. But yeah, no, I will say, out of all the Bridger, like, the characters that I saw in the books, she is
Yeah.
like a carbon copy, basically, almost over.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like she was able to be so well transferable because she's such a strong character in the books. I've read two of the other Bridgerton books, the Antony and Daphne seasons. And in the books, like these girls are much more a part of their time. Like the books stay much truer to the Regency setting than the TV shows more of like a splash. Like it's themed around the Regency setting, but we put in a lot of like modern sensibilities into the TV show. But even in the Regency setting, Penelope in the book, like that girl is her own. And because she's 28 in the books, which is like far spinster age. And when her and Colin get it on before marriage, that girl has no regrets. No regrets. She is not thinking once about being caught, and they transferred that into the TV show. Whereas, like, when Daphne is in the garden with, like, the Duke, she's like, "Oh, shit, like, I shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. This is against society." Penelope does not have those thoughts. I think in the TV shows, like, I wasn't paying attention. Like, I kinda forgot that we're not supposed to be doing this because I
Yeah,
was
I
so
don't
into
care.
it.
Like, yeah, she's kind of it's so funny because that's true, like, in the past seasons, it's like, "Oh, they kissed, now they have to get married." It's like, she doesn't care.
No.
Do
Like,
not care.
Colin was like, "Oh, I should propose now, like, I wanna get married to Penelope, like, she's my, what my wife energy," but Penelope was like, "Oh, yeah,
I
I guess,
guess.
like, I wanna marry you, but, like, I didn't even think about that, like, what we did was wrong."
Yeah.
I
No,
love
that
her.
was fun. No, love her.
Love
She's
her.
amazing.
I really loved the friends to lovers trope. I think that it's my one of my favorite romance tropes if done right. And it has to be done right because you're not going to get the same level of like passion that you get in like enemies to lovers. And I think the TV show executed it well, but I will say that the part break, I think they wrote it knowing that there was gonna be a part break, and so they plotted part 1 of the TV show and part 2 of the TV show separately to the point where it's like part 2, they're like, "Oh, they're already together. We're gonna focus on the more, like, dramatic Lady Whistledown stuff." And so, like, it's kind of I don't know, I feel like the TV show, I liked it, but they didn't hit it quite as hard, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, it's really like kind of upsetting because I mean, the like season 3 was supposed to be all about them and then by part 2 you're like, "Oh, we got a couple scenes with them."
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like I always felt like they were the focus. I really did.
Mhm.
I know some people I saw on TikTok like just don't. But
Yeah. I think
I just don't we didn't get oh I'm like they went through their breakup and then they went through their like
Mhm.
third act breakup kind of.
Yeah.
It was just, like, a lot, like, I wanted to see more of their, like I just wanted to see more. I
Yes.
wanted to see more. Like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, they're in a house together living, and I'm like, where is this house?" Like, I was confused
Mhm.
sometimes.
Well,
That
and,
could
like,
just
the
be me,
major
but
sex scene we saw from them happened in that first episode. So if you'd watch the season in its entirety, you'd get the carriage scene in episode 4, and then in season 5, you'd get the mirror only like, real sex scene, and then they, like, are so pushed to the back, and I think it's because Penelope had too many storylines going on. If you think about other romance leads, usually they have like an internal arc and the relationship arc. Whereas Penelope had Lady Whistledown, her relationship to Colin, her internal arc, her relationship to Eloise, and her relationship to her mom. Like she had 5 story arcs
it was a
going
lot.
on. And so
Mhm.
Penelope was on our screens a lot, but
But
she
now with
had a
Colin
lot to deal with.
yeah, yeah. No, she was on the screen all the time, yeah, but, like,
Mhm.
not like, the romance with Colin wasn't which,
Yeah.
may I add, is kind of cool if you think about it because Penelope's never been the, like, Daphne character that or
Yeah.
even, like, Francesca, where it's about her love story and, like, that's kind of
Mhm.
it. Like, I would say, like, Penelope and Eloise are, like, the 2 exceptions where Penelope's point in Bridgerton thus far has been that she is Lady Whistledown.
Yeah.
So if we take that from her and the trauma, like we've seen her the storyline with her family and like
Mhm.
all of that, then like that's not really Penelope's story. So,
Yeah.
it makes sense why the
Mhm.
big thing at the end they wanted to make was that the whole, what do they call it? The tune the no, they call it it's not town. They say
Oh, the ton.
the ton. Yeah.
The ton.
The ton now knows um that it's her.
Yeah.
Whereas in the book, you have Colin kind of, which we can get
Mhm.
into that more. But yeah, you kind of have him
Yeah.
rallying behind her. Um,
Um, but with the friends to lovers in
yes,
the TV so in the book, we see, like, their how they first met, which they did reference in episode 8, and we kind of see this perspective of, like, lifelong friends, which in the TV show they built up in season 1 and 2, and I think they really should have done a flashback to it. I think because I've been seeing the cutest edits of them, like, dancing in season 1 where they look so different
Yeah.
and, like, they look like babies to them, like, dancing in season 3, and I think that would've changed this, like, friends to lovers. We needed reminded of the friends because in the TV show, we're instantly like, we're starting at that transition point, right? From friends to lovers because there's the whole Lord Debling thing, and
Yeah.
Colin quickly is realizing, like,
I'm
instantly
jealous.
becomes so, so fucking jealous. Colin is the epitome of down bad. I remember, I think it's after their first kiss, which I wanna talk more about. But instantly after that, the start of the next episode is, like, the first kiss again, but, like, you can clearly tell that it's someone's dream,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
looked
yeah.
over to Jacob and I said, "That's Colin's." I was like, "This is Colin dreaming." He goes, "What? No way. This is Penelope." Like,
No.
Penelope is the one who's been obsessed with Colin. This
I
is,
thought the same
whatever.
thing.
And then
Mhm.
it flashed to
I
Colin
knew
and
it
the
was him.
gratification I felt. I said, as a book reader, I knew
Yes.
that it was going to be Colin's dream.
Just how the last episode ended when it started like that, I go, "Oh,
Yeah.
Colin is having a horny dream." I was like, "Here we go." I was sitting on the couch by myself, like, underneath a blanket. I'm like, "Oh, Colin's dreaming."
Colin's dreaming of her. Oh my gosh. It's so cute. I liked the Lord Debling plot in part 1. I think letting him be jealous and that other people are like, like Penelope had another option. She had an option of a man who was probably richer or just as rich as Colin.
And at this point, me personally, having read
Mhm.
the book, I was like, "Girl, just leave Colin's ass and go with Lord Debling. He's so kind and he's so sweet and he wants you to be yourself." And
Yeah.
Colin doesn't.
But it
But
wasn't
this
a love match.
uh, they would have found love. Like he was so he was so honest with her and like was like, "Listen, no, I don't know. I'll be away a lot. Like you can in her head she's like, "Oh, I can keep Lady Whistle down.
Mhm.
I can read my books. I can do my thing." I was like, at this point Colin was pissing me off so much. I was like, "Girl, I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I was like,
Yeah.
"Run.
But
Take
Colin is
take Lord
obsessed
Devlin."
with her. Colin loves her. Lord Debling just wanted like, she would have had a good life with Lord Debling and a simpler life and, like, a safer life, but it wouldn't have been a love match.
No, it wouldn't have been what she wanted. And this is Bridgerton, so we
Yeah.
only believe in love, but we don't settle. But yeah, at that point, I'm like, girl, settle.
Girl, maybe you should settle, like, maybe
Just settle.
this life of security could be worth it, and, maybe they would have found love over time. I was more upset that they dropped Lord Debling in the TV show completely.
I know, he never
I
came
was
back.
I was expecting him to, like, get with Cressida, and I was like, "Oh, she's gonna have her whatever," and then maybe somehow she'd still, because in the ball, Cressida's the one who dances with Lord Debly after Colin interrupts and is like, "Yeah, can't you see that they're in love with one another?" And that's why Debling breaks up with her, and we get to the carriage scene. Where did Lord Debling go? Why did
I
Mans
think
disappear?
I think he was like, these people are too complicated. I'm just gonna be alone and go
Yeah.
hunting.
He was like, "I
Uh,
guess I'll just go to the Americas alone. Fuck
yeah.
Cressida." Like, he had, like, a solid option B, and he was like, "Never mind."
I wouldn't wanna be with Cressida either. I think he was just being like, I think those were petty dances. He was just like, "Well, someone's gotta do it, and I'm too
Yeah.
nice," 'cause he is. He was so kind.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I would have loved to see him come in at the end and be like, "I'm proud of you." Kind of like
Yeah.
a, "Hey, good
Yeah.
for you," sort of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, he was
He's
awesome.
just
He was like a really cool character.
I
And
love
yeah,
seeing a vegetarian on screen represent,
yeah, that's right. I
even if
forgot.
they called him a weirdo the entire time for it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I loved Lord Debling. I was like, this guy rocks.
So, let's move back for a minute to that first kiss and the journals because where our timeline's a little funkier in the TV show than in the books. I was talking to Peyton before this, and I was like, they hit all the major moments from the books, but they put it in whatever order like suited
It was
them
a lot.
best.
Yeah.
So in the books, we have Penelope is over at the Bridgerton's house to see Eloise. Eloise is out, and that is when she stumbles upon Colin's journals instead of like the whole husband suitor match. And then I think it's right then in the books that they're like Colin's like mad at her for the journals or whatever, and they're like fighting a little bit. And that's when she was like, "Kiss me," which in the book, she does ask him to kiss her, and I really respected that. I thought I liked that as a first kiss. Whereas in the TV show, Colin, like, goes to apologize her at her house, and I love that he was paying off her maid.
Yeah. Yeah, she does ask him in the TV show, though. She's like,
Yes, yes.
but it feels more desperate versus, like, the, like, shared pickup of, like, a paper and,
Yeah.
you're kind of in the passion. But that scene on the TV show is really pretty,
Mhm.
like, with all the
Oh, yeah.
vines and stuff, and she's like, "I can't die not being
Yeah.
kissed."
He's like, "You will not die. But if I did, then I would but you will not."
But you
He's,
will
like,
not.
arguing with her. He's like, "You're not gonna die." And then
So
Colin becomes instantly so down bad, like we said. In the
mhm.
books, after the first kiss, he, like, the next day wakes up and he's like, "Imma propose.
He's
Imma
like,
marry
"I
her."
think I like Penelope Featherington.
I
Fuck."
think I'm in love, actually, like, what? Like, I in the TV show, we have to finish out this Lord Debling act and all of that stuff, but in the books, the next day he wakes up and he's like, "Alright, get me a wife." So he goes to go to Penelope's house, and that's when he sees her get into like a the black car version of carriages, whatever the fuck that is. I don't remember what it was called, but he was like, "She's getting into an unmarked carriage. Where
Oh,
is she
yeah.
going?" And he like follows her um to where she's delivering the Lady Whistledown stuff. And this is a major change in the book versus TV show because before they're even engaged in the books, Colin finds out she's Lady Whistledown. And as a reader, you're not supposed to know that Penelope is Lady Whistledown until Colin finds out.
Which imagine years ago reading these and
Yeah. Being
dude, that would
4
have been
books in, not knowing who this Lady Whistledown character is.
that would have been so much fun to find out that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so in the books, you have to remind me, he follows her and that's how he finds out.
Yeah. Yeah, he, like, sees her at the church, he finds out, and
Yep.
he's pissed, he's livid, and this is the thing that the adaptation got me the most upset about, is because in the TV show, when he finds out she's there, that she's Lady Whistledown, he's, like, upset with her, which obviously he should be, but then he leaves her, but Colin would never. But Colin literally was, like, more upset that Penelope put herself into a dangerous situation by delivering like, going to a seedier part of town to deliver the Lady Whistledown stuff than the fact that she's Lady Whistledown. Like, it takes him a minute to, like, process that, but in the moment, he's so, like, worried about her well-being, and then in the TV show, he just leaves her. He's just
Yeah.
like, "Get your own carriage home."
Yeah. No, yeah, and the way it's just all very abrupt and well, and so yeah. And with that, I don't know if oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to go next to the sequencing of who finds out because in the
Yeah.
TV show, Eloise knows, and that's why Eloise is being a bitch this
Yes.
season. And it stinks because Eloise is my favorite Bridgerton.
Yeah.
And so this season, I'm like, girl, you are not helping me out because in the like, she was like, you had till midnight. And then she's like,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
TikTok,
yeah. TikTok,
TikTok.
bitch.
I was like, girls, please stop. But yeah, in the books, Eloise doesn't know. Actually, Colin pins it on Eloise
Yeah.
in the books, and she's like, I don't know who it is.
Yeah,
And
Colin's, like, afraid for Eloise because he thinks it's her.
And I actually honestly really liked that in the book. I'm not gonna lie. I liked that
Yeah.
Colin knew and Eloise didn't because then it became like their thing
Mhm.
and not like this thing that's pitted against Penelope.
Yeah. Well, and in the TV show, like they made this huge thing that Colin was like, "Oh, you already knew." And then it's kind of like him and Eloise working as like the two people who love Penelope the most.
Yeah,
Like,
that
can you forgive her? And Eloise like, "Oh, maybe." And then later the scene where Penelope's being blackmailed, like there are three people in that room, like Eloise, Portia, and Colin talking to Penelope about this blackmail situation, and they're like talking over her, which it did show that like these people love Penelope, but in the books it was much more private affair. Like it was more focused on their relationship, Colin
yeah.
and Penelope, where the TV show is an ensemble cast.
It is, which makes sense
Yeah.
because all the people she was having trouble with were in that room.
Yeah.
So, like, it all
Mhm.
brings back together in the TV show,
Yeah.
and, like, that's I mean, honestly, that's the biggest difference between the book and the TV show is, like, who is the focus, and it's
Yep.
Penelope is the focus with
Mhm.
all the people, not Penelope and Colin.
Yes.
So I think that's, like, the biggest difference.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, plot points are different, but overall
Yeah.
like, we
The
hardly
focus.
hear about Penelope's mom in the book, like, no one
No,
cares
she's
about
like
it. She's not
not
even in
really a
it, and,
character.
like yeah, obviously, even Eloise in the book, like
Yeah. Well, because Eloise is going through stuff in the book
yeah,
because she's setting up for her book to be next.
yep,
And in the book, Eloise's biggest problem when she finds out that they're engaged is she's just like, "Oh, damn, like I thought we were gonna be spinsters together," because clearly
yeah.
there's such a different time jump. Like, I mean, in the
It's, like,
books, this
10
is
years.
Eloise's second season
Yeah.
out. Whereas in the books, like they had made plans to be spinsters and besties for life. And she's like, and now you found a
Leaving me?
husband? Well, fuck, now I gotta find a husband.
And it's my brother? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember her hating that she was with Colin in the books, but in the TV show, she was so mad
Yeah.
that it was her brother.
Let's go back to I think the moment with the most tension in the TV show and in the books, and that is the carriage scene.
Oh,
Now, the
yes.
carriage scene in the books and the TV show are different in their time because in the TV show, obviously it happens right after the ball where Colin ruins Penelope's chances to get with Lord Debling and he chases after the carriage and he gets in and he professes his love. And then in the books, it happens after Colin catches her as Lady Whistledown and he's angry at her for being Lady Whistledown and it turns into horniness. What are your thoughts about the carriage scene?
Oh, I was just happy to see it made the TV show,
Oh, it
and
was so good.
I was happy that it made it in the first part,
Yeah.
literally
Mhm.
right at the end.
I think it was
Um,
smart for them to move it around.
oh yeah, no, and I was upset that she didn't say, "Can we go around the block again?"
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
because that was
really
such a that showed Penelope's character so much, and I understand that they needed to show how
interested he was.
into yeah, that he was, but that's such a good line for Penelope to lose.
Yeah. No, that scene, oh my god, I keep on seeing edits of it,
It
and,
was
like,
intimate.
his acting
So
his acting is so, like, so fucking good.
so good. He literally that is the face of a man yearning for that woman. Like when she brushes his hair back, I was like, I shouldn't be witnessing this. I am
Yeah,
intruding.
I
Like
kinda felt dirty. I was like, "I should not be watching this interaction."
and then at the end, and it came out that it was all Luke Newton that he when he fixes Penelope's like sleeve, he like lifts his two fingers
Yeah.
because he was fingering.
Kinda gross, not gonna lie. I was like,
I
"I
loved
didn't
it.
need to know that." Like, I'm
That
good.
is dedication to the part.
Yeah, he was, like yeah, really committed to the bit. I was watching, a Brittany Broski podcast the other day, and she was talking about Bridgerton, and she's like, "Bring back male yearning." She's like, "There are too many men in this world, and none of them" like, she's like, "I want someone to yearn over me
Yeah.
the same way
Yeah.
Colin Bridgerton yearns over Penelope." She's like,
Oh
"Bring
my
back
god.
male yearning." And her favorite character is Benedict, obviously.
Obviously.
But yeah, I was like, "Oh, shit." No, I loved that scene in the book. I loved that scene in the TV show. Oh my god, I was so happy. And the whole like, I think TikTok was, like, on their toes, like, "When
Yeah.
is the carriage scene coming?" And, that's
Mhm.
testament to Julia Quinn and also, like, having something like that in the book
Yeah.
that people are looking forward to reading or, I guess,
Mhm.
watching. Wow, like, so exciting. But yeah, I was, like, waiting. I was like, "Where's the carriage scene? Where's the carriage scene? When
Where's
is
the
it?"
carriage scene? And I didn't mind that he didn't know that she was Lady Whistledown when it
No,
happened.
I
I
didn't care
do
either.
wish in the TV show him finding out she was Lady Whistledown. Like, I think that they still should have had a sex scene after that. And I've seen some interesting, like, analysts of, like, the fact that, like, in the TV show, Colin started sleeping on the couch outside of the bed and, like, that he, like, didn't wanna be physical like, he wanted to be physical with her, but didn't because he, like, wasn't trusting her, like, true self, and he wanted only, like, integrity or whatever, whatever. I was like, "No, I get it." Like, he's a sensitive boy. But, like, also, I feel like that angry sex made the carriage scene so good in the original, and I think they like, the passion and yearning of finally becoming lovers made it so good in the TV show, but I still wanted an additional, like, angry, passionate sex scene from them later.
Yeah, it's hard because, like, we have the carriage scene, right? And
Mhm.
it's so exciting, but then, like, the good girl in me is like, "But he doesn't know." He doesn't
Yeah.
like, this isn't fair, he doesn't know, and you're right, like, Colin is so sensitive,
He
and
is. I
such
really
a
relate to that.
sensitive little boy, and you need to be careful with his feelings because 'cause he'll easily
Yeah.
get hurt, and, like, whereas, like, you know, Anthony was, like, master of the house, like,
Yeah.
he more so, like, in Antony's season, like, couldn't deal with the pressure of having to take care of
Mhm.
everything. Colin was, like, fucking f like, flauntering around the world, like,
No.
he's living that middle child life of, like, "Yeah, I think I'm
He
ready to
is
take"
the
like,
3rd
I
son.
should say male
Yes.
middle child during the Regency era. I think I'll take a wife now."
Dude, I'd
He literally
love
came back and he's like, "I think I'll take a wife." Like, what?
I'd love to be a 3rd son in Regency era. You know what
Yes.
I mean? No responsibilities, still all the money, do whatever the fuck you want. Like, that's really ideal. Because the 2nd son, Benedict still has to worry if something happens to Antony
Yeah.
that he'd have to inherit it. Colin has no worries
No worries.
whatsoever,
And
and
he has
they can do whatever
that whole study to himself. I want
Yeah.
a study with, like, a
Damn.
table and a desk and a
Mhm.
fireplace to myself where I can sit down and write little notes in my journal.
I wanna be a mediocre 3rd son who thinks that my writing is amazing, and I'm just a dude. I'm just like, Penelope had to be a good writer. Colin, eh,
Doesn't
it
matter
doesn't
right now.
matter. He's a Anyways, so after the engagement, which is completely different, like, who they tell, because in the TV show, they go to the Bridgertons, and then the Eloise clock time, which we talked about, starts up. In the books, they go to the
The
Featheringtons,
Featheringtons.
and there's this long, drawn out scene in the
No, it's
books. Penelope
horrible.
has a younger sister who's on the marriage mart and is, like, eligible age, and Portia cannot get it through her head that Colin came in with Penelope and would like to propose to Penelope, and there's this huge scene of Portia being like, "Penelope, go fetch Felicity's watercolors. Let Colin see her watercolors. Let's clear the room and make it just Colin and Felicity."
Felicity's
And
like, "Mom,
Colin's
shut
like,
up."
"No, I just like," and that's when he yells at her in both the TV
Yeah,
show and the
he
books, but
does.
that's the
He does.
moment in the books where Colin puts Portia in her place. He's like, "I'm here to propose to Penelope. I want to marry Penelope."
I know. Oh, in the TV series when Portia's
Mhm.
talking mad shit and he walks in, like,
Yeah.
the way he storms in, she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Mr.
Hot.
Bridgerton." And she gets set in her place real
Mhm.
fast.
And she changes. She took that to heart.
She did. She was a changed woman.
She was a changed woman. I really loved in, like, a heartbreaking way this scene where Portia's talking to Penelope and she's like, "You have to fulfill all of his dreams." And Penelope's like, "What are my dreams?" And she goes, "You are a lady. Ladies do not dream. Ladies have husbands." And it's like, ugh, that's like such a good Shonda line. Like
Yeah.
that she wrote herself. I
Yeah,
can
she's like, "We're
guarantee
putting this
you.
in." Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, of course, no one likes Lady Featherington, right? Like, she sucks, but
She had an arc.
she had an arc this season, and I love how they kept on saying, like, "After this, we do better. We do better. We do
Yeah.
better."
Mhm.
Since Penelope, like, monetarily dug everyone out of holes.
Oh my
Wait, can we
god.
go back really quick to the,
Yeah.
Cressida being Cressida, which, oh, I think you may have here next. Never mind.
Um,
I'm looking at the black we were talking about the blackmailing, but, um,
yes.
I just wanted to go in about how, which we can get to and talk more about in
No,
a
go
little
ahead.
bit, but, when she's like, "I can pay for it." I love that because in
Yes.
the book, she does that too, where she's like, "I can pay for it."
But
And they're
having
like,
all 3 of them in the room for that was
"Yes,
perfect.
yes." I liked they're like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well," and then, of course, Portia's like, "You've been keeping money from us?"
I saw the most hilarious tweet, and it was like, "Penelope, I can pay for it. Portia, you've had money? Eloise, go girl. Oh my god, you made such a huge sum. Colin, she doesn't even need my money." Like, poor Colin's like, "What how can I be this trad husband for you?" And she's like, "You can't." Like, in nothing. She's like, "I don't even need your money." He's like, "Damn, I thought I was a rich Bridgerton. I thought I at least had that."
Yeah, and Portia's like, "A Bridgerton? Oh my," and
Yeah.
that this whole time Penelope's like, "I don't need anyone here's money, I can pay her." And then it
Yeah.
turned into Colin being like, "No one's getting paid. We're not paying anyone."
No one's getting
Um,
paid. And then he makes it worse,
but yeah,
actually.
but that just goes into, like, her mom
Yeah.
and, like, how Penelope's digging everyone out of holes. But yeah, I like how they, like, basically and I want that for the Featheringtons because I do feel
Mhm.
bad for them.
No,
And
I
you can see
really
she's just
liked
trying her best. She
yeah.
really is.
Well, and Shonda said that she based the Featheringtons off of the Kardashians, and I fucking love that. Of, like, Portia being a Kris Jenner and being like, "I'm going to do anything to make this work for my daughters," and seeing that backstory of her being like, the society in which we live, like, I had to push these marriages. I had to try to get this security for my daughters because it's something I didn't have. I really liked. I'm excited to see them like next season. Farley's little oh no, not Farley. What is it? Philippa in the final ball scene, she goes, "Now, Farley, the bugs."
The bugs.
It was so adorable.
She's like the bugs. Oh no, they were so cute, and I love
Philippa
their
really came for
expression.
your heart.
Oh, I know the bugs.
I love
They're
that they let the
butterflies.
Feathering sisters be pretty this season.
Yeah,
That really did something for me.
I know. Yeah, it did.
Okay, backpedaling a bit with the whole Lady Whistledown plot. Something that honestly, the Colin erasure in part 2 of the TV show is that in the books, we know so much more about Colin, like wanting to be a writer and stuff like that. And his whole thing is that he's mostly just jealous at Penelope for doing something. And I think they showed it in the TV show, but because we had so much other things going on, it just felt like they like were hitting their marks. But I do think in downplaying his jealousy, they kind of just let the Lady Whistledown thing be about Penelope.
Yeah,
Because in the books, and this is the final like biggest difference, is that in the books, Colin plans the reveal to the ton that Penelope is Lady Whistledown because I don't think Penelope in the books ever would have revealed it only because it meant like in doing so it could damage the Bridgertons' reputation and she never would have hurt the Bridgertons.
no,
Whereas oh, and that pissed me off in the TV show when Colin was like, "Well, what about my family name?" and like said that thing about like Penelope entrapping him and I just No, he didn't. Honestly, I line edited those scenes from the TV show out of my mind. They didn't actually happen.
It's like, no, he did not
No.
say that.
Colin, my wife Bridgerton, would never accuse Penelope of entrapping him. Like, entrapping her because she's so hot, maybe.
'Cause she has
Um,
perfect breasts.
because yeah. And she was right. Nicola did not lie to us. But I thought that the final reveal was much more substantial by Penn giving it herself and
Yeah,
kind of incorporating the queen, who's not
queen,
a character in the books.
no, and the queen's reaction to it all, and,
Yeah.
I was watching some behind the scenes, and, I mean,
Mhm.
the Featherington Ball, the fact that it was the Featherington Ball too was,
Yeah.
like, such a big moment,
Mhm.
and, they said that they wanted to build a stage up, so, like, Penn had her moment, like, above everyone
Yeah.
there, and then in front of the queen too, and just, like, yeah, incorporating all of that, and then basically being able to say Lady Whistledown and
Yeah.
be out in the open about it. I mean, that's, like, best case scenario.
Yeah. Well, because that's what I was most worried about is in the TV show, Lady Whistledown is this huge integral part to people's stories and like the plot and the framing. I was like, are they really going to get rid of Lady Whistledown? Because in the books, like Colin and Penelope announced that she's Lady Whistledown, and they dip
Stop.
for an
Yeah.
extended sex honeymoon,
And he
and
writes
like
a book, and she just
yeah,
edits
and then
it.
yeah, and she entirely retires Lady Whistledown, and then at the end, she's like, "Oh, maybe I'll write a book once Colin's books gets published." But, like, I was like, "They're not going to give up Lady Whistledown in the TV show,"
No
and I
way.
the way they did it was perfect, with the Queen's blessing
Oh,
and all
yes.
of that. I will say I would have loved if after Penn made her announcement, I did like Philippa, like, bringing in the bugs for the butterflies and stuff like that, but I would have loved it if once the butterflies went out and we got the scene of the butterflies around Penelope, if in that Colin went and stood by her.
Yeah,
Like, I think giving the speech by herself is good,
but then he's
but I
supporting
wish
her.
yeah, I
Mhm.
wish once the butterflies were out, Colin would have gone and stood by her because I think she had to seek him out in the end there, and which was
Yeah,
like,
he kinda,
"Eh."
like, hid behind a pillar.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, shit, what's gonna
Yeah.
happen?" Well, we know Penelope wears the pants in that relationship.
For
So,
sure. For sure.
but yes, I mean, that last scene, let's do a fun little what was your favorite song?
Mm,
I liked the Coldplay Yellow. I think she walked down the aisle to that.
yeah. Um, I thought POV in
Oh,
the
yeah!
mirror sex scene, that was so perfect, especially because, like, it starts with him being like, "Look how beautiful you are, like, have self-confidence in your body." Like, that scene was done perfectly in my mind, and I POV
That
was
was
a
good, that was
really
good.
good
I always look forward to the Bridgerton soundtrack.
yes.
Every season, I'm like, "What" they did some Taylor.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh, yeah. You Belong With Me at their wedding was so perfect.
yep.
That is the Friends to Lovers song.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, and, I Wanna Be Yours by the Arctic Monkeys was supposed to be in, like, the final scene or something, and then they replaced it with, like, an Imagine Dragons song, and don't get me wrong, I love Imagine Dragons,
Oh,
but,
like,
like
come on.
maybe that wasn't the moment. Like, I feel like there's better Imagine Dragons songs that could, like, fit the plot than, like, what they did.
They say that when they dance, when they're
Oh, yeah.
filming, they don't
Mhm.
listen to the music. It's like Baby Got Back.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's like something crazy. Yeah, they don't listen to the
That's fun.
actual, like, you know,
Mhm.
songs, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, I always like to talk about the soundtrack because I listen to it
No.
when I clean.
I listen to it all the time, especially when I'm reading the books. Like, I just finished Queen Charlotte and, the book, and I, like, always have it up in the background because it's like, you know the songs, but, like, it's still instrumental. I It's
And it
perfect.
doesn't
For
yeah. You
For
don't.
fantasy girly, it's, like, the perfect blend. That is my favorite part of the TV show.
Oh, yes. That is what we needed.
Uh, awesome. Well, that was I don't know. I'm so excited. I love this TV show, and I'm sad that people I made a TikTok about people being kinda like brats about just everything, like, all of the book changes people are being bratty about from the Francesca to, like, in the Colin and Penelope story, and I'm like, "Can't we just
Well,
enjoy" like, this is as much as, like, yes, there's things that I would have wanted to be different, I
right.
hate that we start with criticism, that we start with hating on, like, the TV show.
Anything
It was
popular.
still a great TV show. The part 1 had me literally kicking my feet in the air watching it and giggling at how, like, good it was. It's still amazing TV.
It is, and I think anything that's really popular is gonna be brought with
Yeah.
that much more criticism. All I gotta
Mhm.
say is I really hope that Julie Andrews, sticks around. I
I
know that
don't think she
I
will.
I loved that transition, though, at
Yeah.
the end with her voice turning into Penelope's.
Mhm.
I do think that she'll leave, but
I think
because
so
I love Julie
too.
Andrews, and we don't see her a lot anymore.
Yeah.
But she's got,
No.
the vocal cord situation. But I just was like, "Oh, Julie."
I
Love
know, it's
myself.
gonna be so sad. I don't think she's gonna be in it, but also, at first, I was like, "No, she's gonna keep doing it next season." Like, this was just to, like, show Penn's voice or whatever. But then we looked it up, and she's, like, 89 or something like that, and I was like, "Oh, maybe we were doing this as, like, a peaceful transition while she's still alive to make it happy, instead
Yeah.
of her, like, kicking the bucket by the time like, in 2
Yeah.
years."
Yeah, no, I am so excited for all the above. I'm excited to finally get my Eloise season really
Yes.
soon. Um, but all in all, was so happy to have our Colin and Penn season. I It was amazing. So, with that being said, we that's all we have time for today.
Yes.
What any differences that we missed? And what are you looking forward to next? In the
What
book
was your
series?
favorite song?
Oh, this yeah, your favorite song, and what sibling do you think is gonna get the next season?
Yes. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us and happy reading.